Hello, and I'm Blasphemous or Franklin, and welcome to the deck list of the Melffy thing with a few more of the cards I left out explained a little bit more. I don't have this pre-organized, so I'm gonna just sort through it now as I go through it. We're running two Melffy Rabbits. I guess what it'll allow me to do is talk about the deck as I go through it. We're running two Melffy Rabbits. There's a reason for that we'll explain in a moment. It's said to be a Garnet, but it activates your Pendulum Summon, your Melffy Pendulum Summon thing, your Melffy Rabbies. Your Rabby activates your Rabbies. Sorry. And to deal with that as well, we run one Rescue Rabbit, and we'll explain how that's also not a Garnet, but it can summon the Rabbies. The Rabbits multiply. One Rescue Cat, because it's still nice to be able to threaten that beast or go for Melffy Search, depending on your hand. Now that I'm in some sort of flow, let me get these other cards real quick. One Valeraphon to summon from the grave. Also, it's a tuner. One Paracerberus, because it's a Rescue Cat search target. It's also a surprise if you can sneak this into the grave and get a pop. If you're not familiar with Paracerberus, a lot of people aren't. It catches a lot of them off guard. It says, if you take damage by battle or by an opponent's card effect while this card is in the graveyard, banish it, target one card on the field they have, and destroy it. So it's not game over sometimes. Even when they present game, you can like take one hit and then pop the other guy. That'll sometimes catch them off guard. One Hopier Squadron. You should know this card. Alright. Then we're running two Ash Blossom, one DD Crow, and the reason we're running the DD Crow is going to be right here. It's this mystical beast called Kitty Tail. Kitty Tail says, if this card is normal or special summon, target one beast warrior or plant insect in the graveyard. Send one monster from my deck to the graveyard with the same type as that monster. If this card is in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can add one beast warrior, or wing beast monster from the deck to your hand. So if this is sitting on my field and somehow they wipe my board, they're going to put a DD Crow in our hand. But the first ability allows us to sneak that Pero into the graveyard, or other things we might need. Two Calentosa for the double pop and the shotgun we showed in the last video. Now, I know that someone's going to also do this deck better than me, and someone's going to make a video much better. I'm not here for that. I'm just trying to showing my progress and how I continue to expand with this deck. But you'll see a lot of the same things in these Melffy decks. With everyone's slight little flavor of variance. That's another reason I like this deck. But if you see the deck, we didn't finish going over this guy, or I didn't show the combo with him or explain it better. So he's got an ability, which was the forcing them to summon, But if this card is normal or special summoned, I can banish one face-up beast monster from my hand or field until the end phase. So that's important because it then says special summon one earth beast monster from your deck or graveyard with an equal or lower level than that monster's. So we have to run the rescue cat with the rescue rabbit to add value to that ability because we want to squeeze it for all its juice, you know what I mean? Since they're both level 4. And basically, you know, if I'm trapped with the Garnet, then the rabbit's dead, which means I can now pitch the rabbit for Nemesia's effect to summon the rescue cat. You can send this card to the graveyard, special summon 2 level 3 or lower beast monsters from the deck. They have their effects negated to destroy during the end phase. Yeah, so. And vice versa. If I lost my Cerberus to set up my Naturia Beast target, but I still have 2 rabbits in the deck, then we can pitch the cat, get the rabbit, go into that combo line. Yeah. That was what I did not show off yesterday. Alright. Then, key Melffy monsters. You can probably imagine the ratio. If you can't, welcome to class. So, it's going to be 1 Melffy Finny to summon the monster out of the hand, 1 Melffy Pony to, you know, recursion, grab one out of the grave, 2 Melffy Caddies, because we don't want to lose it, but we don't want to have too much of it. Same thing goes for the puppy. There's only so many targets we want to hit, so we only need 2. Don't want to overdraw it. Three Melffy Wallies, because you want to swarm. Plus, they love to negate this guy, even though the dog and the cat actually get the things that trigger the devastation. But I guess he does too now, since he can grab Rabbies. Three Rabbies. And 1 penny. Now, I really want to run a second penny, but it's too tight. And, you know, just run the Hoppier. I like, you gotta have the Hoppier, but 2 pennies is pretty cool. Even though you only get to add 1 back from the grave, 2 pennies, you can still do some cool things. You know, you got 2 water monsters now and stuff. Anyways, getting distracted. Spell cards. 1 cross-out designator to you know, stop Ash. Pinpoint landing for draw power, plus it allows for, it enables chain blocking. For monsters that are summoned, if you summon things, which we do now. 1 triple tactics talent to see their hand. Primarily you want to see their hand and get like the card that's going to save them out of it. You could go for you know, the draw cards for advantage, or take their thing and generic link it off, but generally a lot of the value is going to be in ripping that card out of their hand. 1 obedience school. I didn't even show combos with this, but if you get this and the Melffy footsteps, that is 7 cards to your hand. That is not to your hand, but 3 are on the field, 4 in your hand. It's 7 cards. Do the math. One called by, because you know what the fuck going on. 1 illusion gate, Because if you can wipe the board, you really can win. Melffy hide and seek. One Melffy staring contest. 3 Melffy footsteps. Traps. I'm waiting on my Dominus spirals. Dominus purge. 1 evenly matched. Again, to clear their board. Also because Melffy's run back to your hand and it's optional to summon. If you're not going to die from what they're doing, you could pick up your stuff. Proceed main phase, battle phase. Evenly matched, main phase 2. Activate Melffy footsteps. Proceed to end phase. You didn't need to turn anyways. Evenly matched is free. Two Imperm. 1 Melffy playtime surprise. We didn't go over this one. Target 1 Melffy monster in your field or graveyard. Return it to the hand. Then you can fusion summon 1 beast fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. If you control a Melffy XYZ monster, from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. So yeah, using hand or field for this one, that's nice. You can then, if you control a Melffy XC monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard. For the rest of this turn, Melffy monsters you control that are special summoned from the extra deck are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. You can only use each of these playtime surprise once per turn. So we know that Mary Melffy's, the Synchro, is going to do a bounce and then tag out with another Xyz monster. But if Melffy of the Forest was already sitting on the field, then the Xyz monster that comes out will be safe. Let's go over that extra deck. Cherry Beast. Oh, wait. Yeah, we'll do it that way. The Cherry Beast. The Mosquito. He was on the last video. Gigantic Sprite. Onibamaru. Soul Sweeper. Ice Jade Grimier. This card says, you can activate this effect. The face-up monsters you control can now be destroyed or banished by your opponent's card effects this turn. Then if you activated this in response to an effect on your opponent's card, or if you activated this in response to your opponent's card or effect activation, and your opponent has a card with the name on the field or in their graveyard, you can banish those cards. If a card is banished and your opponent's card effect, if a card is banished by your opponent's card effect while this card is in the graveyard, I can special summon it. So if this is ever in my graveyard and they banish something, it summons back. That's cool. While it's out there, if they do something and we trigger, we gain armor. We can't be destroyed or banished. So they have to swing. Desert Locust helps us climb in to the Grimier. He's 6. He's a tuner. He rips a card out of their hand as well. Sprint. The rest are what I would call the Melffy package. But it's the Ronin Raccoon, the Zeus, Joyous Melffys, Merry Melffys, Melffy Joyful Surprise, Melffy of the Forest, Melffy Mommy, and Melffy God Mommy. Now, God Mommy we also didn't go over. So I'm going to go over that. Need a drink. Once per turn, you can also XYZ summon Melffy Godmommy by using Melffy Mommy that you control. Transfer the materials to this card. If this card is special summoned, which means even if you summon it off of a tag out, you can add one Melffy spell trap from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Gain attack equal to the combined attack and defense of Melffy monsters attached to it. You can attach 5 materials from this card. Return all cards your opponent controls to the hand. Now I showed you how we swarmed the board yesterday. And Melffy Mommy adds 1 to herself, and she only needs a minimum of 2 to be summoned, but she's a 2+ level XYZ, 2+ level beast monsters. So you really can just summon her with 4 people on the field, and then have an extra card in your hand, attach it, return their board, and then look for some opportunity to go for game. And the way that you would do that is you would summon Melffy Rabby, add Rabby to your hand, pendulum summon, go for game. So pretty solid there. Also, she gets the trap. Good way to search for the trap. Alright. Now the side deck, I'm not 100% sold on the side deck. Alright. I'm still trying to decide. But there's some tech here. Silo Hat Rabbit is one of the cards in my side deck for the extra deck. Which, what we're going to be getting with Silo Hat Rabbit is You're Finished. You're Finished, if you don't know this card, it's amazing. If 10 or more cards and or effects have been activated during the turn, special summon this card as an effect monster with 3,000 attack and defense. It's also still a trap, but better than the spell and trap cards are during your end phase. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, while this card is in your monster zone, quick effect, destroy as many cards your opponent controls as possible, then set this card in the spell and trap card zone. So, if 10 or more cards or effects have been activated this turn, so you summon the Silo Hat Rabbit, you get this set down, they go, they summon one monster, their monster has a trigger. The Melffy has a trigger. The other Melffy has a trigger. The monster it summons has a trigger. They have a spell card. They have an Ash Blossom. They have an extender. Then you have another bounce because they have another extender. And before you know it, you're finished. Now you've got another board wipe. And set this back down. It also ends their turn because if they're smart and read the card, the way to play around this card is set it in your spell and trap zone. It only gets the board wipe if it stays in the monster zone. So if it comes out and they just say, alright, I'm done, it's over. But at that point, they have to be overextending for something. So we'll grab that in a second. 2 Moltrami for Wallows. Needs no explanation. Two Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. The reason being, if your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, discard this card. Target one of those face-up monsters and negate its effect until the end of the turn. Also, if that face-up monster leaves the field, its controller takes damage equal to its attack. So again, we're getting bounces off, we're getting high-value targets, we're negating them and getting them off the board, and we're getting burn damage in, which will help with the Melffy direct attack or other ways to get that game. So, 2 Ghosts. One Pot of Prosperity. I haven't got Pot of Sloth yet. When I get Pot of Sloth, this might become it. Or I might just swap out a card in this extra deck for a Pot of Sloth. Maybe want to have both. Main board Pot of Sloth. I don't know. I like this card. And with Melffy just needing the one card to do all that, it's nice to be able to get it and only remove 3 cards that we know we're not going to use, and that's in that combo. The other 2 evenly matched that we're missing. That's out of order. I wasn't supposed to be on traps yet. 2 Fenrir. To help with dealing with them. I'm thinking about going 1 Fenrir, 1 Unicorn, just in case their extra deck has something. 2 Thrust to help with the finish of, you know, just getting the trap you need or whatnot. And then 1 Feather Duster. And Melffy Playhouse. This could be the Pot of Sloth I was talking about. Or, you know, I don't know. This card, I don't want to lose. I don't want to remove materials from my XYZs. I want to use the shotgun. But this is cool for bouncing. I think there's enough bouncing. But maybe there's never enough. Anyways, that whole deck list, that is a 45 card deck. And there's a lot of starters and a lot of ways to get it going. So it never really feels that bad. And yeah, that was it. Just wanted to go over that explanation. We'll do potentially another video showing off some of the interactions with the trap, or you know, just other combinations using the mystical Naramesia. Sorry, the name is always escapes me. Using Naramesia. Anyways, yeah, thanks for tuning in.